In the year 2147, humanity had spread its reach across the stars, colonizing planets far and wide. Among these distant worlds was Elysium, a lush and vibrant planet teeming with life. It was here that a group of scientists, led by the brilliant Dr. Ilara Voss, made a groundbreaking discovery. Buried deep beneath the surface of Elysium was an ancient alien structure, its origins shrouded in mystery. The structure was unlike anything they had ever seen, its architecture a blend of organic and mechanical elements that seemed to pulse with a dormant energy. As the team carefully explored the structure, they activated a dormant alien device. The device, a complex array of crystalline nodes and glowing circuits, emitted a powerful energy wave that resonated throughout the chamber. The wave spread outward, awakening something long forgotten beneath the surface of Elysium. Far below, in a hidden chamber, a group of cryogenically frozen humans began to stir. These were the Revenant sons, a crew of astronauts who had been placed in stasis centuries ago during a failed interstellar mission. Their mission had been to find a new home for humanity after Earth had become uninhabitable due to environmental collapse and overpopulation. However, their ship had encountered a catastrophic malfunction, sending them into a deep sleep, lost to time. Captain Elias Thorne was the first to regain consciousness. His eyes fluttered open, and he found himself in a dimly lit chamber filled with cryogenic pods. The air was cold and sterile, and the hum of machinery filled his ears. As he sat up, he felt a sharp pain in his side, a reminder of the injuries he had sustained before entering stasis. He glanced around, seeing his crew members beginning to stir. "Captain," came a voice from one of the pods. It was Lieutenant Jackson Rourke, the ship's second in command. Are we still on the mission?" Thorne shook his head, trying to clear the fog from his mind. "I don't know, Jackson. Everything's different. Something's changed." As the crew members emerged from their pods, they began to piece together their situation. They were in an unfamiliar place, surrounded by alien technology. The chamber was filled with strange symbols and glowing conduits, hinting at a civilization far more advanced than their own. Thorne knew they needed to find answers, and fast. "Let's get out of here," Thorne said, his voice firm. "We need to find out where we are and what happened to us." The crew moved cautiously through the alien structure, their footsteps echoing in the silence. They encountered no immediate threats, but the air was thick with tension. As they navigated the labyrinthine corridors, they came across a large chamber filled with holographic displays. The displays showed images of distant planets, star systems, and what appeared to be historical records of the alien civilization. "Look at this," said Dr. Leora Cade, the ship's chief scientist. "These records, they're about us, about humanity." Thorne approached one of the displays, his eyes widening in disbelief. The hologram showed images of Earth, followed by scenes of colonization on various planets. It was clear that humanity had survived and thrived, despite the challenges they had faced. Thorne felt a mix of relief and confusion. Their mission had been to find a new home for humanity, but it seemed that humanity had already found its way. As they continued to explore the chamber, they encountered a mysterious figure. The figure was cloaked in shadows, its face hidden beneath a hood. It spoke in a voice that seemed to resonate with an ancient wisdom. "Welcome, Revenant sons," the figure said. "You have been awakened by the device, as foretold in the ancient prophecies." Thorne stepped forward, his curiosity piqued. "Who are you? And how do you know about us?" The figure stepped into the light, revealing a serene face with eyes that seemed to see beyond the present. "I am the guardian of the structure. I have been waiting for your arrival. The device that awakened you was designed to bring forth those who could tip the balance in the coming conflict." "A conflict?" Thorne asked, his mind racing. "What conflict?" The guardian nodded solemnly. "The Psylocks, an alien species that seeks to dominate the galaxy, have discovered the existence of the artifact hidden within this structure. They believe it holds the key to ultimate power. If they obtain it, They will become unstoppable. Thorn's eyes narrowed. And what does this have to do with us? You, Captain Thorn, and your crew are the key to finding the artifact and preventing the Psylocks from obtaining it, the Guardian explained. Your mission is far from over. The fate of the galaxy rests in your hands. Thorn glanced at his crew, seeing the determination in their eyes. They had faced countless challenges before, and they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. With the Guardian's guidance, they set out to uncover the secrets of the alien structure and the artifact that held the key to their destiny. As they ventured deeper into the structure, they encountered ancient traps and puzzles designed to test their resolve. Each challenge brought them closer to understanding the true nature of the artifact and the power it held. The Guardian provided cryptic clues and guidance, but it was up to the Revenant sons to decipher the mysteries and find their way forward. Their journey was fraught with danger, but they pressed on, driven by a sense of purpose and the knowledge that their actions would shape the future of the galaxy. The awakening was just the beginning, and the true test lay ahead. As the Revenant sons delved deeper into the alien structure, the weight of their newfound mission began to settle in. The Guardian's words echoed in their minds. The fate of the galaxy rested in their hands. Captain Elias Thorn and his crew navigated through the labyrinthine corridors, each step bringing them closer to uncovering the secrets of the artifact and the Psylocks' threat. The structure itself seemed to come alive around them, its walls pulsing with a faint otherworldly glow. Holographic displays flickered to life as they passed, revealing fragments of the alien civilization's history. The Revenant sons marveled at the advanced technology and the sheer scope of the knowledge contained within. It was clear that the builders of this structure had been far ahead of humanity in terms of technological and scientific advancements. Lieutenant Jackson Rourke, ever the skeptic, couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. "Captain, are we sure we can trust this Guardian?" he asked, his voice tinged with suspicion. "We don't know anything about them, or what they really want." Thorn considered Rourke's words carefully. Trust was a luxury they couldn't afford to squander, but the Guardian had provided valuable information so far. "We don't have much choice, Jackson. We need to find out what this artifact is and how to stop the Psylocks. The Guardian seems to be our best bet for now." Dr. Leora Cade, the ship's chief scientist, chimed in. "The data we've gathered from these holograms is incredible. It's giving us insights into the Psylocks that we never had before. If we can harness this knowledge, we might have a chance against them." As they continued their exploration, they encountered a series of intricate puzzles and traps designed to test their ingenuity and resolve. Each challenge was more complex than the last, requiring the combined skills of the entire crew to overcome. Thorn found himself relying on the diverse talents of his team, from Rourke's tactical acumen to Cade's scientific expertise. In one particularly challenging chamber, they faced a series of holographic projections that depicted the Psylocks in various stages of their evolution. The projections revealed the Psylocks' origins as a peaceful species, transformed by a cataclysmic event that had driven them to seek power and domination. The Revenant sons realized that the Psylocks were not mindless conquerors, but a species driven by desperation and fear. "This changes everything," Cade said, her eyes wide with realization. "If we can find a way to communicate with the Psylocks, maybe we can find a peaceful solution." Thorn nodded, though he knew the path to peace would be fraught with challenges. "We need to find the artifact first. Only then can we have any hope of negotiating with the Psylocks." As they moved through the structure, they encountered a massive chamber filled with ancient machinery. At the center of the chamber was a pedestal, and on it rested a crystalline artifact that pulsed with a faint blue light. The Guardian's voice echoed in their minds, guiding them toward the artifact. "This is it," Thorn said, his voice filled with determination. "The artifact that the Psylocks are after." Rourke approached the pedestal cautiously, his hand hovering over the artifact. "How do we know this won't just activate some kind of trap?" Cade examined the pedestal, her eyes scanning the intricate carvings and symbols. The holograms mentioned a key. We need to find the key to unlock the artifact's true potential. As they searched the chamber, they discovered a hidden compartment containing a small, intricately carved device. Thorn recognized it as the key the holograms had mentioned. He carefully inserted the key into a slot on the pedestal, and the artifact began to glow more brightly. Suddenly, the chamber was filled with a blinding light, and the Revenant sons were transported to a different part of the structure. They found themselves in a vast library, filled with ancient texts and holographic records. The Guardian appeared before them, its presence more imposing than ever. "You have taken the first step," the Guardian said. "The artifact is now attuned to you. But the Psylocks are closing in. You must return to the surface and prepare for the coming conflict." Thorn nodded, his mind racing with the implications. "We need to warn the people of Elysium. The Psylocks will come for the artifact, and they won't stop until they have it." As they made their way back to the surface, the Revenant sons felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had uncovered the secrets of the artifact, but the true test lay ahead. The Psylocks were coming, and the fate of Elysium, and the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. As they emerged from the structure, they were greeted by a group of Elysium's finest scientists and soldiers, led by Governor Leoricade. The Revenant sons had much to share, and little time to waste. The battle for the artifact was about to begin, and they needed to be ready. Governor Cade listened intently as Thorn explained the situation. "The Psylocks are coming for the artifact," he said. "We need to prepare. We need to defend Elysium and find a way to stop the Psylocks." Cade nodded, her face set with determination. "We'll do everything we can to help, but we need to act quickly. The Psylocks won't wait." As the Revenant sons and the people of Elysium began to prepare for the coming storm, Thorn couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was far from over. The artifact held secrets that could change the course of history, and the Psylocks would stop at nothing to obtain it. The Revenant sons were the last line of defense, and they were ready to fight for their rightful place in the galaxy. With the weight of the impending Psylocks threat looming over them, Captain Elias Thorn and the Revenant sons knew they couldn't face the alien invaders alone. As they emerged from the ancient structure, they were greeted by Governor Leoricade and a contingent of Elysium's finest scientists and soldiers. The urgency of their mission was palpable, and time was of the essence. Governor Cade listened intently as Thorn explained the situation, her eyes reflecting a mix of determination and concern. "The Psylocks are coming for the artifact," Thorn said, his voice steady. "We need to prepare. We need to defend Elysium and find a way to stop the Psylocks." Cade nodded, her face set with resolve. "We'll do everything we can to help, but we need to act quickly. The Psylocks won't wait." Thorn knew that forming an alliance with the people of Elysium was their best chance at survival. He turned to his crew, who stood ready to follow his lead. "We need to share our knowledge and technology with Governor Cade's team. Together, we can develop a strategy to defend against the Psylocks." Lieutenant Jackson Rourke, ever the strategist, stepped forward. "Captain, we should start by analyzing the data we gathered from the structure. There might be clues about the Psylocks' weaknesses and the artifact's capabilities." Dr. Leoricade, the ship's chief scientist, added, "We also need to understand how the artifact works. It's clear that it holds immense power, but we need to know how to wield it." Governor Cade nodded in agreement. "We have access to advanced research facilities and a team of brilliant minds. Let's combine our efforts and see what we can discover." The Revenant sons and the Elysium scientists quickly set to work, sharing their findings and pooling their expertise. They established a joint command center in the heart of the Elysium colony, where they could coordinate their efforts and monitor the situation. Thorn and Governor Cade led the alliance, working tirelessly to develop a defense strategy. As they delved into the data, they uncovered fascinating insights into the Psylocks' technology and biology. The holographic records from the structure revealed that the Psylocks were driven by a desperate need for power, stemming from a cataclysmic event that had nearly wiped out their civilization. The artifact, they discovered, was a powerful energy source capable of fueling advanced technology and even altering the fabric of reality. "We need to find a way to neutralize the artifact's power," Thorne said, studying the holographic projections. "If we can do that, we might be able to level the playing field." Dr. Cade nodded, her eyes gleaming with determination. "We can use the knowledge we've gained to develop a countermeasure. But it won't be easy. The Psylocks will be expecting us to defend the artifact." Rourke chimed in, his mind already racing with tactical scenarios. "We need to anticipate their moves. If they think we're protecting the artifact, they'll come at us with everything they've got. We need to set a trap." Governor Cade nodded, her expression grim. "We'll need to create a diversion to draw the Psylocks away from the artifact. Once they're engaged, we can strike at their weaknesses." As the Alliance worked tirelessly to develop their strategy, they encountered unexpected challenges. The Psylocks' technology was far more advanced than anything they had seen before, and their tactics were ruthless. Thorne knew that they needed every advantage they could get. One evening, as they reviewed their plans, Thorne received a message from the Guardian. The mysterious figure appeared in a holographic projection, its voice resonating with ancient wisdom. "Captain Thorne, the Psylocks are closer than you think," the Guardian warned. "They have already dispatched a scouting party to Elysium. You must be prepared for their arrival." Thorne's eyes narrowed. "How much time do we have?" "The Psylocks scouts will arrive within days. You must act swiftly and decisively." Thorne nodded, his mind racing with the implications. "Thank you, Guardian. We'll do everything we can to protect Elysium and the artifact." As the Guardian's hologram faded, Thorne turned to his team. "We need to move faster. The Psylocks are coming, and we need to be ready." The Alliance sprang into action, working around the clock to finalize their plans. They developed advanced defensive technologies, trained their soldiers in new tactics, and prepared a series of traps designed to exploit the Psylocks' weaknesses. Thorne and his crew shared their combat experience and leadership skills, helping to bolster the morale and readiness of the Elysium defenders. As the days passed, tension mounted. The people of Elysium looked to the Revenant sons and Governor Cade for guidance and reassurance. Thorne knew that the coming battle would be unlike anything they had faced before, but he was determined to protect the planet and its people. Finally, the day arrived. Sensors detected the approach of a Psylocks scout ship, its sleek, menacing form cutting through the sky. Thorne and his team stood ready, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and resolve. "This is it," Thorne said, his voice steady. "Remember, we've trained for this. Stick to the plan, and we'll come out on top." As the Psylocks ship descended, the Elysium defenders launched their diversion. A series of decoys and holographic projections created the illusion of a heavily fortified base, drawing the Psylocks scouts into a trap. The Revenant sons and the Elysium soldiers engaged the Psylocks in a fierce battle, using their combined knowledge and skills to counter the alien invaders. The fight was brutal, but the Alliance held their ground. Thorne's leadership and the Revenant sons' combat experience proved invaluable, as they coordinated their efforts with the Elysium defenders. The Psylocks scouts, though formidable, were no match for the combined might of the Alliance. As the battle raged on, Thorne and his team worked to neutralize the artifact's power. Using the knowledge they had gained from the structure, they developed a device capable of disrupting the artifact's energy field. With the artifact's power neutralized, the Psylocks' advantage was diminished. In a final, desperate push, the Alliance managed to repel the Psylocks scouts, sending them retreating into the stars. The people of Elysium cheered as the skies cleared, their hearts filled with hope and gratitude. Thorne stood among his crew, his eyes filled with pride. "We did it," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "We protected Elysium and the artifact, but the fight is far from over." Governor Cade approached, her face set with determination. We've bought ourselves some time, but the Psylocks will return. We need to use this opportunity to strengthen our defenses and prepare for the next wave. Thorn nodded, his resolve unwavering. We'll be ready. Together, we'll face whatever comes our way. As the Alliance continued their preparations, Thorn couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. The people of Elysium had shown incredible courage and resilience, and the Revenant sons had found a new purpose. They were no longer lost souls from a bygone era. They were guardians of the galaxy, ready to defend their rightful place among the stars. The initial victory against the Psylocke scouts brought a brief respite to the people of Elysium, but the sense of relief was short-lived. Captain Elias Thorn and the Revenant sons knew that the Psylocks would return in greater numbers, and they needed to use this time wisely to fortify their defenses. The alliance with Governor Leoricade and the Elysium scientists continued to yield promising results as they developed new technologies and strategies to counter the alien threat. However, amidst the preparations, a shadow of suspicion began to grow within the ranks. Thorn couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The Guardians' warning about a traitor within their midst weighed heavily on his mind. He decided to confide in Lieutenant Jackson Rourke, whose tactical acumen and loyalty he trusted implicitly. "Jackson, we need to be vigilant," Thorn said, his voice low. "The Guardian mentioned a traitor. We need to identify and neutralize any threats from within." Rourke nodded, his eyes narrowing. "I'll start by reviewing our security protocols and personnel. We can't afford any leaks or sabotage." As Rourke began his investigation, Thorn and the Revenant sons continued to work closely with the Elysium scientists. Dr. Leoricade led the research efforts, focusing on developing advanced defensive technologies and analyzing the Psylocks' weaknesses. The Joint Command Center buzzed with activity as everyone worked tirelessly to prepare for the next wave of attacks. One evening, as Thorn reviewed the latest data with Dr. Cade, a message arrived from the Guardian. The holographic projection flickered to life, revealing the enigmatic figure. "Captain Thorn, the Psylocks are mobilizing," the Guardian warned. "They will return soon, and their forces will be overwhelming. You must be prepared." Thorn nodded, his mind racing. "We're doing everything we can, but we need more time." The Guardian's expression remained serene. "Time is a luxury you do not have. The traitor within your ranks will betray you soon. You must act swiftly to uncover their identity." Thorn's eyes widened. "How do we find them?" "Look for discrepancies in your security logs and personnel movements. The traitor will leave traces of their actions. Trust your instincts, Captain." With the Guardian's words echoing in his mind, Thorn turned to Rourke. "We need to step up our efforts. The traitor could strike at any moment." Rourke nodded, his face set with determination. "I'll cross-reference the security logs with personnel movements. We'll find them, Captain." As the days passed, tension mounted within the Alliance. The people of Elysium sensed the unease, and whispers of betrayal spread through the colony. Thorn knew that maintaining morale was crucial, so he addressed the assembled crowd in the central plaza. "We stand on the precipice of a great battle," Thorn said, his voice carrying across the square. "We have faced the Psylocks and emerged victorious, but we know they will return. We must stand together, united in our resolve. Trust in each other and trust in our mission. We will not falter." The crowd cheered, their spirits lifted by Thorn's words. But as they dispersed, Thorn couldn't shake the feeling that the traitor was closer than he thought. One night, as Thorn reviewed the latest security reports, Rourke burst into the command center, his face pale. "Captain, we have a problem. I found discrepancies in the security logs. Someone accessed restricted areas and tampered with the data." Thorn's heart sank. "Who?" Rourke hesitated, his eyes filled with regret. "It's Senator Jackson Rourke." Thorn's mind reeled. "Jackson, but he's one of us. He's been with us since the beginning." Rourke nodded, his voice heavy with sorrow. "I know, Captain. But the evidence is undeniable. He's been feeding information to the Psylocks." Thorn felt a pang of betrayal. Jackson had been his closest confidant, his second in command. How could he have turned against them? "We need to confront him," Thorn said, his voice steady. "But we need to be careful. He knows our plans and our defenses." Rourke nodded. "I'll gather a team. We'll bring him in for questioning." As they prepared to confront Jackson, Thorn couldn't help but feel a sense of loss. The betrayal cut deep, but he knew they couldn't afford to let emotions cloud their judgment. They needed to focus on the mission and protect Elysium at all costs. The confrontation was tense. Jackson was apprehended and brought to the command center, where Thorn and Rourke confronted him. Jackson's face was a mask of defiance, but Thorn could see the guilt in his eyes. "Why, Jackson?" Thorn asked, his voice filled with pain. "Why betray us?" Jackson's eyes flickered, and for a moment, Thorn saw the man he had once trusted. I was promised power, Captain. The Tylox offered me everything I ever wanted. I thought I could control them, use their power for my own gain." Thorn shook his head, his heart heavy with disappointment. "You betrayed us all, Jackson. You put Elysium and the entire galaxy at risk." Jackson's defiance crumbled, and he hung his head in shame. "I know. I'm sorry, Captain. I was weak." Thorn sighed, knowing that regret wouldn't change the past. "We'll deal with you later, Jackson. Right now, we need to focus on the Tylox." With Jackson in custody, Thorn and the Revenant sons redoubled their efforts. The betrayal had shaken them, but it had also reinforced their resolve. They knew that the Tylox would return, and they needed to be ready. As the days passed, the Alliance continued their preparations, their determination unwavering. Thorn knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but he also knew that they would face them together. The traitor had been exposed, and their mission was clearer than ever. They would protect Elysium and the artifact, no matter the cost. The Tylox would return, but the Revenant sons and the people of Elysium were ready. They had faced betrayal and emerged stronger, united in their resolve to defend their home and their future. The exposure of Senator Jackson Rourke as a traitor sent shockwaves through the Alliance, but there was no time to dwell on the betrayal. Captain Elias Thorn and the Revenant sons knew that the Tylox would return in greater numbers, and they needed to be ready. With Jackson in custody, the Alliance redoubled their efforts, focusing on fortifying Elysium's defenses and preparing for the inevitable assault. Governor Leora Cade, despite the setback, remained resolute. "We cannot let this betrayal weaken our resolve," she said, addressing the assembled team. "We must stand together, stronger than ever, to face the Tylox." Thorn nodded, his mind already racing with plans. "We need to form a resistance movement. We can't trust everyone within the government anymore. We need to work from the ground up, gathering intelligence and rallying support." Lieutenant Jackson Rourke, though disgraced, offered a glimmer of hope. "I know people within the government who are loyal. They can help us gather information and coordinate our efforts." Thorn considered Rourke's words carefully. Despite his betrayal, Jackson's knowledge of the political landscape could be invaluable. "All right, Jackson. You'll work with us, but under close supervision. We can't afford any more surprises." With a plan in place, the Revenant sons and their allies began to form a covert resistance movement. They established secret communication channels, gathered intelligence on Tylox movements, and rallied support from loyal citizens. The resistance grew quickly, driven by a shared determination to protect Elysium and the artifact. One evening, as the resistance gathered in a hidden underground bunker, Thorn addressed the group. "We know the Tylox are coming. We need to be ready. We need to strike at their weaknesses and disrupt their plans." Dr. Leora Cade, who had been working tirelessly on developing countermeasures against the Tylox, stepped forward. "We've made progress on the artifact. We believe we can use its energy to create a powerful defensive shield, but we need to test it." Thorn nodded. "We'll create a diversion, draw the Tylox scouts out, and give you the time you need to test the shield. As the Resistance prepared for their first major operation, tension mounted. The plan was risky, but it was their best chance to gain an advantage over the Psylocks. Thorn and his crew, along with a team of loyal soldiers, set out to create a diversion, drawing the Psylocke scouts away from the testing site. The operation was a success. The Psylocke scouts, believing they had found a weak point in Elysium's defenses, were lured into a trap. The Resistance fought valiantly, using their knowledge of the terrain and advanced technology to hold off the alien invaders. Meanwhile, Dr. Cade and her team successfully tested the defensive shield, proving its effectiveness against the Psylocks' weapons. As the battle raged on, Thorn received a message from the Guardian. The holographic projection flickered to life, revealing the enigmatic figure. Captain Thorn, your efforts are commendable. The shield is a significant development, but the Psylocks will adapt. You must continue to innovate and stay one step ahead. Thorn nodded, his mind already racing with new ideas. Thank you, Guardian. We'll keep pushing forward. With the shield in place and the Resistance growing stronger, the people of Elysium felt a renewed sense of hope. They knew that Psylocks would return, but they were ready to face them head-on. The betrayal of Jackson Rourke had been a setback, but it had also galvanized the Resistance, uniting them in their mission to protect their home. As the days passed, the Resistance continued to gather intelligence and prepare for the next wave of Psylocks attacks. Thorn and his crew worked closely with Dr. Cade and her team, developing new strategies and technologies to counter the alien threat. The alliance grew stronger, driven by a shared determination to protect Elysium and the artifact. One night, as Thorn reviewed the latest intelligence reports, he received a message from an unexpected source. A group of former government officials, disillusioned by the corruption and betrayal within their ranks, reached out to the Resistance. They offered their support and valuable information on Psylocks' movements and plans. Thorn knew this was a turning point. The Resistance was gaining momentum, and the people of Elysium were rallying behind them. The Psylocks would face a united front, determined to protect their home and their future. As the Resistance prepared for the next battle, Thorn couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. They had faced betrayal and emerged stronger, united in their resolve to defend Elysium. The road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but they were ready. They were the Resistance, and they would not falter. The Resistance movement on Elysium had grown stronger and more organized, driven by the determination to protect their planet and the artifact from the looming threat of the Psylocks. Captain Elias Thorn and the Revenant sons, along with Governor Leora Cade and her team, had developed a defensive shield that had proven effective against the Psylocks' initial attacks. However, they knew that the Psylocks would not be deterred and would soon launch a more devastating assault. As the Resistance prepared for the next wave of attacks, Thorn received a message from the Guardian. The holographic projection flickered to life, revealing the enigmatic figure. Captain Thorn, the Psylocks are mobilizing a massive fleet. They will arrive in a matter of days. You must be ready. Thorn nodded, his mind racing with plans. We'll do everything we can, Guardian, but we need more time to prepare. The Guardian's expression remained serene. Time is not on your side. The Psylocks are determined to obtain the artifact. You must find a way to neutralize their main weapon, which will give your people a fighting chance. Thorn's eyes widened. What main weapon? How do we neutralize it? The Guardian's voice resonated with ancient wisdom. The Psylocks' primary weapon is a powerful energy cannon capable of destroying entire cities. It is located on their flagship. You must infiltrate the flagship and disable the cannon. Thorn knew the risks were immense, but he also knew that the Guardian's words were their best hope. He turned to his crew and the Resistance leaders. We need a volunteer to lead a mission to infiltrate the Psylocks' flagship and disable their main weapon. It's a dangerous mission, but it could turn the tide of the battle. The room fell silent as the gravity of the mission settled in. Thorn knew that whoever volunteered would face incredible danger, and the chances of survival were slim. After a moment, Thorn stepped forward. I'll lead the mission. I can't ask any of you to risk your lives when I'm willing to do the same." Lieutenant Jackson Rourke, who had been working closely with the Resistance despite his earlier betrayal, stepped forward as well. "Captain, I'll go with you. I owe you and Elysium my life. Let me make amends." Thorn nodded, appreciating Rourke's determination. "All right, Jackson. We'll plan the mission together." As the Resistance prepared for the daring assault on the Psylocke's flagship, Thorn and Rourke gathered a small team of their most skilled fighters. They studied the Psylocke's tactics and technology, developing a plan to infiltrate the flagship undetected. The mission would require precision, courage, and sacrifice. The day of the mission arrived, and the tension was palpable. Thorn and his team boarded a stealthy spacecraft designed to evade the Psylocke's detection systems. As they approached the Psylocke's fleet, Thorn felt a mix of determination and anxiety. He knew that the success of their mission would determine the fate of Elysium and the entire galaxy. The infiltration was fraught with danger. The Psylocke's defenses were formidable, and every step required careful calculation and quick thinking. Thorn and his team moved silently through the flagship, avoiding detection and neutralizing any Psylocke soldiers they encountered. The journey to the energy cannon was a gauntlet of traps and challenges, but they pressed on, driven by their mission. Finally, they reached the control room of the energy cannon. Thorn and Rourke worked quickly, using their knowledge of advanced technology to disable the weapon. The room was filled with a tense silence as they worked, aware that any mistake could spell disaster. As they completed the final sequence, the energy cannon powered down. Thorn and his team had succeeded, but they knew their work was far from over. The Psylocke would soon realize what had happened, and they needed to escape before reinforcements arrived. The retreat was just as perilous as the infiltration. The Psylocke's fleet was in chaos, and the Resistance fighters on Elysium launched a coordinated attack, taking advantage of the confusion. Thorn and his team fought their way back to their spacecraft, narrowly escaping the Psylocke's clutches. As they returned to Elysium, the people cheered their success. The disabling of the Psylocke's main weapon had given the Resistance a crucial advantage. However, the victory came at a great cost. Thorn and his team had faced numerous injuries, and some had made the ultimate sacrifice. Thorn stood before the assembled crowd, his heart heavy with the weight of their losses. "We have won a great victory, but at a great cost. Let us honor those who have fallen and continue to fight for our home and our future." The crowd cheered, their spirits lifted by Thorn's words. The Resistance had proven that they could stand against the Psylocke, and the people of Elysium were more determined than ever to protect their planet. As the days passed, the Resistance continued to prepare for the next wave of attacks. Thorn and his crew worked tirelessly to develop new strategies and technologies, knowing that the Psylocke would not give up easily. The sacrifice of those who had fallen weighed heavily on their minds, but it also fueled their resolve. The Guardian's words echoed in Thorn's mind. "The fate of the galaxy rests in your hands." He knew that the battle was far from over, but he also knew that they would face it together, united in their determination to protect Elysium and the artifact. The road ahead was fraught with danger, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The disabling of the Psylocke's main weapon had given the Resistance on Elysium a much-needed advantage, but the battle was far from over. The Psylocke, though weakened, were still a formidable force, and their determination to obtain the artifact remained unwavering. Captain Elias Thorn and the Revenant sons, along with Governor Leora Cade and the Resistance fighters, knew that the next wave of attacks would be even more devastating. As the Resistance prepared for the impending assault, Thorn received another message from the Guardian. The holographic projection flickered to life, revealing the enigmatic figure. "Captain Thorn, the Psylocke are mobilizing their remaining forces. They will launch a full-scale invasion within days. You must be ready." Thorn nodded, his mind racing with plans. "We'll do everything we can, Guardian, but we need more than just preparation. We need a strategy to defeat them once and for all." The Guardian's expression remained serene. The artifact holds the key to your victory. You must use its power to create a weapon capable of defeating the Psylocks. But be warned, the artifact's power is immense and must be used with great care. Thorn's eyes widened. How do we harness the artifact's power? The Guardian's voice resonated with ancient wisdom. You have already taken the first steps. The defensive shield and the countermeasures you have developed are the foundation. Now, you must combine these technologies with the artifact's energy to create a weapon that can neutralize the Psylocks' threat. With the Guardian's guidance, Thorn and his team set to work. Dr. Leora Cade led the effort to develop a new weapon, combining the artifact's energy with the advanced technologies they had developed. The Resistance worked tirelessly, driven by the knowledge that their efforts could turn the tide of the battle. As the days passed, the tension on Elysium grew palpable. The people knew that the Psylocks invasion was imminent, and they rallied behind the Resistance, determined to protect their home. Thorn and his crew, along with the Resistance fighters, prepared for the final showdown. The day of the invasion arrived, and the skies above Elysium were filled with Psylocks warships. The Resistance launched a coordinated counterattack, using their advanced defenses and the new weapon they had developed. The battle was fierce, with both sides suffering heavy losses. The Psylocks' advanced technology and sheer numbers made them a formidable opponent, but the Resistance fought with a determination that could not be broken. Thorn led the charge, his crew and the Resistance fighters following closely behind. They targeted the Psylocks' key installations, using their knowledge of the alien technology to disrupt their operations. The new weapon, powered by the artifact, proved to be a game-changer. It emitted a powerful energy pulse that neutralized the Psylocks' weapons and defenses, giving the Resistance a crucial advantage. As the battle raged on, Thorn received a message from Governor Cade. "Captain, we're holding our ground, but the Psylocks are adapting. We need to strike at their command center. If we can disable their flagship, we can end this." Thorn nodded, his mind racing with the implications. "We'll take out their flagship. Gather a team and meet me at the launch bay." With a small team of elite fighters, Thorn boarded a stealth spacecraft and launched towards the Psylocks flagship. The journey was perilous, with the Psylocks' defenses putting up a fierce resistance. But Thorn and his team pressed on, determined to end the threat once and for all. As they approached the flagship, they encountered heavy resistance. Psylocks fighters swarmed their spacecraft, but Thorn and his team managed to evade them, using their superior maneuverability and advanced technology. They landed on the flagship's surface and began their infiltration. The interior of the flagship was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, filled with Psylocks soldiers and advanced technology. Thorn and his team moved swiftly, neutralizing any threats they encountered. They knew that time was of the essence, and every second counted. Finally, they reached the command center. Thorn and his team fought their way inside, facing a final desperate stand from the Psylocks' elite forces. The battle was intense, but Thorn's leadership and the team's determination carried them through. They managed to disable the flagship's core systems, causing the massive ship to go dark. As the flagship's systems shut down, the Psylocks fleet was thrown into chaos. Without their command center, the Psylocks' coordinated attacks faltered, giving the Resistance the upper hand. The people of Elysium cheered as the skies cleared, the Psylocks warships retreating in disarray. Thorn and his team returned to Elysium as heroes, their victory celebrated by the entire colony. The disabling of the Psylocks flagship had turned the tide of the battle, and the people knew that they had won a crucial victory. The Psylocks threat was far from over, but the Resistance had proven that they could stand against the alien invaders and protect their home. Governor Cade addressed the assembled crowd, her voice filled with pride. "We have faced the Psylocks and emerged victorious. Our unity and determination have carried us through the darkest of times. Let us honor those who have fallen and continue to protect our home and our future." Thorn stood beside her, his heart filled with gratitude for the resilience and courage of the people of Elysium. The victory was a testament to their strength and resolve, and he knew that they would continue to fight for their rightful place in the galaxy. As the days passed, the Resistance continued to fortify their defenses and prepare for any future threats. Thorn and his crew, along with Governor Cade and the scientists, worked tirelessly to develop new technologies and strategies to protect Elysium. The artifact, now a symbol of hope and power, remained their greatest asset. The people of Elysium knew that the battle was far from over, but they also knew that they had the strength and determination to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The Revenant sons had found their place among the stars, and they were ready to defend it. In the aftermath of the great victory over the Tylocs, the planet of Elysium began to rebuild and heal. The people celebrated their triumph, but they also mourned the many lives lost in the fierce battle. Captain Elias Thorn and the Revenant sons, having played a pivotal role in the defense of their adopted home, were hailed as heroes. Yet, despite their hard-won success, they knew that the galaxy was still fraught with dangers, and their mission was far from over. Governor Leora Cade, who had led the people of Elysium through the darkest days, now focused on the task of reconstruction. She worked tirelessly to restore order and stability, ensuring that the planet's defenses were stronger than ever. Thorn and his crew, having forged a deep bond with the people of Elysium, decided to stay and help in the rebuilding efforts. They shared their knowledge and experience, training the next generation of leaders and defenders. One day, as Thorn stood on a hill overlooking the bustling city of Elysium, he received a message from the Guardian. The holographic projection flickered to life, revealing the enigmatic figure. Captain Thorn, the immediate threat has been neutralized, but the galaxy is vast, and new challenges will arise. Your mission is not yet complete. Thorn nodded, his mind already turning to the future. What do we need to do next, Guardian? The Guardian's expression remained serene. The artifact you have protected holds immense power, and it must be safeguarded. You must ensure that it is used for the greater good, and that its power does not fall into the wrong hands. The legacy of the Revenant sons must continue. Thorn's eyes gleamed with determination. We'll continue to protect the artifact and Elysium, but we can't do it alone. We need allies. The Guardian nodded. Indeed, there are other worlds out there, other civilizations that have faced similar threats. You must reach out to them, form alliances, and share your knowledge. Together, you can create a united front against any future threats. With the Guardian's guidance, Thorn and his crew began to reach out to other planets and civilizations. They shared their experiences and the lessons they had learned, forging new alliances and strengthening existing ones. The Revenant sons became symbols of hope and resilience, inspiring others to stand against tyranny and injustice. As the years passed, the Revenant sons and the people of Elysium continued to thrive. The artifact, now a symbol of unity and strength, was housed in a secure facility, its power harnessed for the benefit of all. Thorn and his crew trained a new generation of defenders, ensuring that their legacy would live on. One day, as Thorn stood before a group of young recruits, he reflected on their journey. We have faced great challenges and made great sacrifices, but we have also achieved great victories. Our mission is to protect not just Elysium, but the entire galaxy. We must stand together, united in our purpose. The recruits listened intently, their eyes filled with determination. They had heard the stories of the Revenant sons and the great battles they had fought. They knew the legacy they were inheriting, and they were ready to carry it forward. Thorn smiled, feeling a sense of pride and fulfillment. The Revenant sons had found their place in the galaxy, and they had made a difference. The people of Elysium and the many worlds they had touched would remember their courage and sacrifice. As the sun set over the horizon, Thorn knew that their work was far from over. New challenges would arise, and new threats would emerge. But he also knew that they were ready. The legacy of the Revenant sons would continue, inspiring generations to come. In the years that followed, The Revenant sons and their allies faced many trials, but they stood strong, united by their shared purpose. They protected the artifact and the galaxy, ensuring that the light of hope and justice would never be extinguished. And as they looked to the stars, they knew that their journey was just beginning.